Hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
Welcome back to our August episode to ISBN-Depth. Today we're joined by an ultra special guest from beyond the grave, Launa, back for one episode and one episode only.
Yes, for the time being.
For the time being. That's
One night only.
One night only. Pay-per-view. That's why I'm wearing my Reading is Spectacular shirt, because it's like, she's back. If last month I said we were doing Native Americans, no, I did not. I got my months confused. So this month we're actually doing It Was a Blue Book. We could actually probably continue this next year and do like, you know, it was a blue book or it was a yellow book. Like it's such a broad topic.
Aren't you glad you brought it up in the first place?
Yeah, aren't I glad I thought of it in the first place?
It was always the plan.
Yeah.
That's what we're going with.
Technically it was the play, it was just on a different month. I just said it's
Very true.
If anyone's curious, because it makes total sense that Native American Heritage Month is in November for the United States. I don't know why or how I got August. I really don't. I was searching for everything. I was like, is the ALA celebrating it? Is it? I could not figure out how I switched that date. Anyway, it was a blue book, and Launa read a Native American blue book.
It still works. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, so housekeeping first, right? I know I'm out of practice.
I know.
It's been so long, and I'm so sorry. But housekeeping, just a little bit of announcements. Tomorrow we do have our back to school kids and teens clothing swap. We're also going to be having a community resource fair going on at the same time. It'll be from 10 to 1 p.m. for shoppers with tokens, and then from 1 to 2 p.m. if you do not have tokens.
And the resource fair people will be out the lobby.
Yes.
Like they'll just be there, I think, most of the day. So they're usually like a raffle for like back to school backpacks and things.
Sometimes we even have like gift cards and things like that. Typically, like as you're walking into the clothing swap, we'll take like tickets or something, and then we'll think around like 1 towards the end of like the token portion is when we typically announce the winners for that.
We've got the Spear County Fair coming up at the end of August, so it's August 27th through September 2nd. This year, the library will have a booth. Well, we usually always have a booth. I can't remember the theme, but I remember it's chickens. Like, I don't remember what they're calling it, but I remember it's chickens.
I don't know, but we're gonna have a clucking good time.
We're gonna have a clucking good time. I need Ben to put in that one meme of that little girl that's like, look at all those chickens.
Look at all those chickens.
Oh, I love our generation.
Yes.
We also have, speaking of like Southern traditions, I don't know where I was going with that, but we have Show Us Your Southern Grandpa, and I don't know about you guys, but I love our Southern Grandma display so much, and I wish more people had known about it. So I think we're really going to try and push the Southern Grandpa thing. I know I'm in the works of filling that out as well. I don't know, I think it's just a cool idea to see where everyone kind of got their roots.
Yeah. Technically, I could do one on my papa. I just, all the stories I have about him are not appropriate.
I mean, is any grandpa story really that appropriate?
I might have told you, I'll tell you off air, but that's nothing to do with a car fire.
Mine has something to do with a mule, so not far off.
So since we're a lot of the things we're going to be talking about, and this is like in September because it's just things are gearing up because school's coming back in a session. We're hitting our stride again. So this year's Storytime's theme is All Together Now, an exploration of kindness, friendship, and unity. And we'll have like throughout we haven't decided exactly what we're doing, but that's usually like our theme for adult reading too. And like when we did the Rainbow Chains.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll have something going on like that too. But for now, starting with story times. On Wednesdays at King Family Library, there's Baby Rhyme Time from 9:30 to 10:30, and then there's Tyke Tales Toddler Time, which is still on Wednesday, and it's 11 to 12. So she'll have 2 story times on Wednesday.
Yes, and then she will also have one on Thursdays from 11 to 12. Still following that All Together Now theme as well.
And Seymour has their story time on Tuesdays from 11 to 12.
Yes, and Kodak has theirs on Fridays from 11 to 12.
So just about every day, like if you miss one, you can go to another branch. Besides Monday, we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday covered. So
Yeah.
there's always a little something going on for the little ones. And generally, like I've noticed, because KFL's the one's a little bit like separated by age groups, but even if for some reason you can't make your exact age group, it's usually not a huge deal. Just like have an infant in the toddler time or something like that. Just understand maybe they can't do the crafts as easy, but I think the parents do the crafts easily anyway.
Typically. And speaking of programs for all ages, we do have our after-school program starting back up this month. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm now the teen librarian.
Trader.
Well, it's worth it.
Moving up in the world.
Moving up in the world. So we have pretty much the same programs that we used to in the teen center. I've just switched some of the days around. So some of the main ones that have changed are our movie days are now the first and fifth Wednesdays of every month. It was originally just the first Wednesday of the month, and then we had life skill programs and activities on the fifth, but there's hardly ever a fifth Wednesday, and so I wanted us to be able to do life skills more often. So I kind of moved that around and just added a couple extra movie days. I'm gonna try and like really get into it and make it like a whole watch party. So bring your teens. It's gonna be a fun time.
I know the kids really enjoyed like the life skills because like Miss Lisa would like bake cupcakes and things like that with them. So.
Which I am not as like inept in baking, but I'm still gonna try and make it super fun. I have like a mock election planned. Come election time, I may even like have the kids run for like teen center representative. So. I mean, if you want to start
Bring
your
back
political
the teen
campaigns, yes, bring back the teen advisory board. We'll see.
Alright, so some programs going on at KFL. There's a new one. It's Make and Take a Wreath. So it's going to be on Thursday, August 22nd, and it's from 10 to 4:30, so you drop in any time on that day. And there's going to be crafting materials to make the wreaths, and they're going to be probably in the new craft room. We're trying to let people know about the changes we've made. So the former business center is no more. We've turned that place into like a creative commons space where like lifelong learning will meet and other like craftings like this one's going on in there. And then all the computers and stuff have been moved up to the second floor. So if you ever come in and need to print now, just head up to the second floor.
Yes, which faxes are still going to be done on the first floor. That's a big question that we've had. A lot of people assume because everything else is moved upstairs, that fax is moved upstairs as well. You guys still go to circulation for all of that, but if you haven't seen the new craft room, it really is a lovely use of the space. Our manager Vicky has just done a fabulous job with it. And I think a lot of groups have really enjoyed having that new area. But speaking of Vicky and crafts, she is still going to be doing a couple Facebook Live crafts as well. We have one coming up this month on the 28th, and that will be at noon. They typically try and post what you'll need for the craft beforehand, whether it's like the day before or like that morning. But those are always really cool, and we get quite a few views from it. I think people really enjoy those. I'm going to try and do a few of those with her this year as well.
I think I've been volunteered for.
Voluntold.
Well, she asked.
Yeah.
She did. I think either March or May next year. I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, so I like crafts, and
Same.
I told her to make love, but knows I like crafts. So, and if you like to do crafts on your own, and you consider yourself an artiste, we have open exhibit slots.
Yes.
September is wide open as of at this moment of speaking. So it might have changed by the time like this post like airs, but you never know. Definitely like talk to circulation if you have art you want to display. So that usually comes up here on the third floor in the makerspace. And there's like a whole wall where you can hang your paintings, and there's a cabinet, and you have like 3D objects, and you can work out a deal. Like if you want to like have us sell them, we get a small commission, or you can include your information and sell it separately, off property. But it's a free space for people to show off their work. There is like a little form you can sign, like if you want to be like on Facebook or something like that.
Yeah. And we also have a brand new program.
Oh, I wonder what it could be.
I know. We are going to be starting a teen anime club for after school. It's going to be on the fourth Fridays in the teen center. And Sam is going to be the one running it.
You can call me Sam Sensei. I'm going to get like a want to get one of those Naruto headbands, and I'm gonna be so cringe. It's funny.
Are you gonna walk in and just like
Yeah.
sprint into the room every single day?
Naruto run.
Yeah. No, we really just like wanted another excuse to work together more
Yes.
often.
Then I just I ran one temporary not for a few months, but then things got out of hand, like just with the workload, so then I had to step back from it. And ever since, all the kids were like, please bring back anime club.
Yes.
And this year it'll be in teen center, because when I first did it, it was separate, and I was competing against trivia, which means
Listen, we go hardcore on
They
trivia.
like
You
those
don't mess with our
Takis.
Tuesdays.
They
Okay,
like
we get Takis, we get Gatorade, and we have a blast.
Yeah. So I was losing. Anyway, so at Seymour, they're gonna have another brand new program, the Cookbook Club. It's gonna meet on first Thursdays from 5:30 to 7:30, and their first meeting's gonna be September 5th. And they're gonna be laying out and choosing all the themes for the rest of the year. So it sounds like you meet the first Thursday, and whatever the theme is, and I don't know, like the families will come and I think bring their food, like adult or like the regular cookbook club here.
Yes, and typically we like share their recipes. Like you prepare a recipe ahead of time, and then we'll like scan it or make copies of it as well. So if you do participate in the cookbook club, you can also kind of give that recipe out to people as well after it's over. It's a really neat idea, and honestly, every now and then with our adult cookbook club, we get to try some of the leftovers.
They're really good.
That's always a great day.
But this one's gonna focus on like just like kids can help with it too. So bringing families together. I think that was like Karen's idea.
I don't know. Whoever did come up with it is genius,
Yeah.
because I saw it in our program booklet whenever we were proofreading, and I was like, that is so cool. I want to go. I don't know if I'm too old to go. Like, just like,
You can bring Gavin. Call him your child.
yeah. Oh gosh. And also going on at Seymour, we have habit reading with Buddy, not with a buddy, but with Buddy.
the
That is
dog.
the dog's name. That's gonna be through September through May on second and third Fridays, and that's gonna be from 3:30 to 4:30. Very similar to what we've done here at KFL in the past, which right now KFL's habit reading program is on hold. We're just giving reading with Chrissy. We're giving Chrissy some vacation time. at the
Much
moment.
needed R&R.
Much
She's an old woman.
She is. She's fabulous, though. We love her.
Is she planning to get her other habit training?
Maybe, perhaps. We may have a different pug coming instead of Chrissy, but right now it's kind of up in the air, but we are definitely looking at going back to habit reading. I think it's a really important program for the kids, and I think that it's just very beneficial for everyone.
So moving on to Kodak. So Kodak's having another retro family game night. That first one they did was super popular. It's going to be Tuesday, August 27th from 4 to 6. So they're going to have all like the old consoles set up, and I think even some board games and things too. But yeah, it was a riot last time they had a lot of fun with it. So I wish I was off, but I work. Tuesdays are my late nights.
We also have habit reading with Hickory at Kodak. Theirs is going to be on a different day. It's first and third Wednesdays from 3 to 4. Once again, that'll go and run through September and May. So habit reading all around.
And there's a picture of Hickory in the catalog, and that dog is so fluffy, no thoughts in his head. So he's ready to hear you read him a story, or do multiplication tables, or just tell him it's a good boy.
I love it.
Family crafted movie night at Kodak. They're gonna be watching holes and making sand bottle art. I'm like, I want to go, but again, it's on a Tuesday.
The amount of times I have seen that movie is just not okay. I mean, it's a great
The
movie.
audiobook's great.
Really? I've
Yeah.
never even listened to the
That's the
audio.
only way I've actually ever read Holes with audiobook. And because it was like in 5th grade, and our teacher, it was like a free period, like kids were like doing their makeup work or whatever, but I didn't have any makeup work to do. So she would just put on Holes. And like a few months ago, I just re-listened to it, and it's still as good as the first time.
I guess this is where we plug Libby and tell you guys to go
Yeah.
go get some audiobooks on Libby, or just in person if you're that person that still has a CD player or a way to play an actual disc, just an audiobook club.
Yeah, like in your car. I've been trying to get, I need to probably remind Rhonda probably when the budget opens up again to get some more CD players and have people like check those out with the audiobooks. I think that would help the audiobooks rotate some more.
Yeah.
Anyway, Holes Sand Bottle Art's going to be September the 3rd, 3:30 to 5:30. And again, I can't attend. Boo.
It's okay. Maybe I can go and just take pictures and tell you how great of a time we're all having.
Bring me back sand bottles.
Alrighty, well, I guess it is time to get into our blues, you know. See, I went to like Blues Clues.
Oh,
We
okay.
just got a letter. You know what I mean?
We just got a letter. We just got a letter.
I wonder who it's from. It's from Eric Gansworth for my book. So, like Sam said, we potentially we're going to do Native American authors, and so you know what? I just use it as an excuse to do both. It's a book that I've been wanting to read for a while. It's a memoir told in verse by Eric Gansworth, and it's called Apple. And I believe the subtitle is Skin to the Core. And just a little bit about it is I didn't even realize this until I picked up the book, but I guess the word apple was actually used as a slur for Native Americans. I don't really know when that started or necessarily why. In the book he talks a little bit about like the idea of maybe a Native American being the one that started the term and how like no one claims it. But it was just a very, very beautiful, well written book in my opinion. I think it was very nuanced in ways that I probably will still never understand even after completing it. But it really does paint this picture of like a true heartbreak of a generation and like that heartbreak continuing in generations removed, specifically from like the assimilation schools and things like that. I took this little bit from the Eric Gansworth website. And it says the term apple is a slur in Native communities across the country. It's for someone supposedly red on the outside, white on the inside. Gansworth is telling his story in Apple, Skin to the Core, the story of his family of Onondaga among Tuscaroras, of Native folks everywhere, from the horrible legacy of the government boarding schools to a boy watching his siblings leave and return and leave again, to a young man fighting to be an artist who balances multiple worlds. Eric shatters that slur and reclaims it in verse and prose and imagery that truly lives up to the word heartbreaking. And honestly, I didn't even realize that it had like images within the book as well. Apparently he's a graphic designer and artist as well. He talks about a little bit of his time in like art classes and things like that in the book once he gets to college. But it's just a very, I don't know, I've never read a book like it before. Like I've read memoirs and I've read memoirs in verse as well. I've taken creative nonfiction classes. I mean, I've written part of them and stuff at UT, but just the way he uses free verse, but then also every now and then he does stick to a specific pattern. He's very obsessed with the Beatles, which I love the Beatles, so I immediately was like, absolutely. He's also very obsessed with Batman, and I'm more of a Marvel girl myself, so sorry, Eric Gansworth. But he like redesigned some of the album covers and everything. It's just very, very neat and well done.
You said you wanted to read an excerpt. Do you still want to read an
Yes,
excerpt?
absolutely, I will. This is the part where I wish I would have kept the mic stand, folks. But that's okay.
I'll be your mic stand.
You'll be my mic stand. I love it. So I'm going to read part of the naming ceremony, number 8. From the book, it says, if your nickname harbors especially sharp contours like a shattered mirror, everyone you know will claim to have invented it, because our verbal talents allowed us to survive, even when we were supposed to burn our cultures out like self-cleaning ovens. We prize cleverness, quickness, the ability to fight the right metaphor, to reveal and obscure at the same exact time, depending on whose ears are receiving our words in the moment. All kinds of people in the res will line up to claim their grandmother or grandfather did this or that, invented that or this beadwork pattern. But no one says they have a Cherokee princess great-great-grandmother, and no one says, look at my cheekbones, look at my cheekbones. No one is spitting into test tubes and shipping their saliva off to 23andmyancestralspiritanimal.com. No one needs to claim a little exotic blood coursing through their suburban lives, hoping to fill their 2-car garages with it, like that elevator in The Shining, flooding the lobby and everything. And no one claims to be the first Indian to call another Indian an apple. I have never heard of anyone claiming their relatives came up with the idea, claiming that one of their own had picked up the shattered mirror, daring to risk its edges, discovering the flesh hidden inside. Yes, it's a very like mic drop moment, which I want to drop the mic because Sam just did a wonderful job holding it for me.
I feel so old. Remember, guys, start stretching.
Should have stretched before this.
Should have stretched. Should have limped up.
Yes.
Your book was clearly deep.
Oh, my book was very deep. It was very deep, but very like pop culture like oriented. It's very
Deep, but like
relatable.
Yeah, he's like, here you go. I'm gonna put this in a nice package. You can.
Yeah, and it is a young adult memoir as well. So if you're interested in it, come see me in the teen center.
So yeah, like I didn't realize until like literally like a week before we had to film that it wasn't actually gonna be Native American Heritage Month. And Launa had already got hers mostly finished, and I was still waiting for my book on Libby. So actually, when it comes through, I'll probably read it and just save that for November, which is Never Whistle at Night or After Dark, something like that. And it's like a Native American horror anthology. And I'm not big on horror, but that sounds really, really neat. And my friend read it, and she said she enjoyed it. So I scrambled, and I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? What are we doing? Here's the blue book, and I was like, well, that'll fit. And so we switched themes, and I grabbed a blue book off of her shelves that I've been meaning to read for a minute here. For like 2 seconds, we toyed with the idea of doing blue and apple themed books because there's surprisingly enough of them.
Yeah, it's a little niche, but I think it would be
Interesting.
interesting.
Because the first thing that came to my mind with apples is Marissa Meyer's Lunar Chronicles series. Cinder has an apple on the cover, and it's a blue cover. And speaking of Marissa Meyer, I picked Serendipity, which is 10 romantic tropes transformed, edited by Marissa Meyer, and she has a story in this. And I remember she had came out with it a few years, it's only a couple years old, and I'd been wanting to read it, and it's been on Launa's shelf, and Launa's read it, and I just was like, oh, this will be the perfect time, and it's a quick read. I came into it kind of cynical, like the first 2 stories were okay, but nothing special. I listed my top 3 favorites, which is Shooting Stars, which is the one bed trope, and that one was by Marissa Meyer, of course. I didn't realize it was her, and then I went back and looked. There she is. Of course, I liked her stuff. In A Blink of an Eye, which is Trapped in a Confined Space by Elizabeth Hulberg, and then there's Liberty, the Makeover by Anna Marie McLemore. And so, like very briefly, Shooting Stars is like these 2, and this is YA, so I think I'm starting to outgrow YA to an extent. Because I was like, I'm not in high school. I've not been in high school for a minute. And I was, the slightly cynical part of me was like, they're going to find their love and stay with them in high school? Like, okay. Launa, you're going to be a lucky one. But how many of your friends, like...
Listen, I have friends that are like, that have like had their first children.
Really?
Yeah, with like people that they were with in high school.
Like, that did not... like necessarily happened in my high school. Like I know there were like some couples that were together since like middle school into high school.
Yeah.
And could have still been together before I left, but like I don't know, most of the people I know that were together in high school didn't stay.
I feel like it's been 50-50. I mean, you get the people that break up in college, and then you get the people that like shouldn't have been together like to start with, and then you have like those few that make it, and hopefully I'm on that track.
I'm with you. I'm like, no diss to you. I was just cynical reading, and I was like, okay, babies. But it's meant for teens, and of course, like as a teen, of course, I can remember the feeling of my relationships wanting to last that long. So Shooting Stars is about like these teens that are like from maybe California that go on a trip to like Yellowstone, and like the one bed trope is like, oh no, there's only one bed, and they have to get together. Well, the thing about this is like they keep getting in these situations where they could share a bed, and it doesn't end up happening until the end, and then it does, and then they get together, and it's really good. In A Blink of an Eye, Trapped in a Confined Space, it starts out with this girl like in love with Big Ben, like the tower, and I was like, what? And then you read more, and she's just she watched like the Kate Middleton wedding, and when she was a kid, and became obsessed with England, and she finally gets to go to England, and she's gonna ride the Eye with her best friend, and then her best friend's boyfriend shows up, and she hates him. And then her best friend traps her boyfriend and her best friend on the
Yes.
on the eye, and then they have to go through, and it was really good. Because for a second, cause you're like, oh, they're in a confined space. Are they gonna get together? That would be bad. And then it doesn't end up like that. I actually really liked how that one ended.
That's the one that really stuck with me when I read that book.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a while since I read it, but the second you started talking about it, I was like, oh, that was like my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, it was really good. And then
Yeah.
I could read a whole book about that. And I think that's the challenge with anthologies, because they're trying to you have to, because I like a little depth to these relationships, but they've only got so many pages to talk about the depth, and I think that's where a lot of them fall flat. It's like you don't either buy into the relationship, or they don't give you enough to feel like it's really good. And then Liberty, which is the makeover, is like a cheerleading one, and it's like Latina culture, and that one had like a nice. The romance almost seemed like a subplot. The plot of it was sort of like reclaiming your identity, and I thought that's what helped that story evolve, because it wasn't just romance. It had a solid other theme to back it up.
Yeah.
So, and there were some other ones that were good. There was there's actually like a lot of coding and algorithms mentioned.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, and I had to think, because these women are probably I know Marissa Meyer is probably in her 30s, 40s, and so the thing is they're trying to write to teens, and so they reference TikToks and there are some old songs and movies mentioned, but things that people would know about, and so and it was the girl being 6 at Kate Middleton's wedding. I was like, dude, I was a teenager or something. So they're it's interesting, because it's contemporary, so they have to sort of date it, but these people are older, so they have to kind of figure out what would a teenager have lived through, and what would a teenager know culturally. And so it's one of those things, I don't know how good this book will necessarily be in maybe 10, 15 years, because it dates itself.
Yeah, it does kind of date itself, which obviously, like you said, it's hard to care about characters in an anthology, because you don't spend time with them for very long. But I'll be honest, it's been a year, maybe a year and a half since I read it, and I genuinely didn't remember anything from it, except for the ones that I didn't like.
Yes, it's funny.
Those are the ones that really stuck with me. There was just one or two that I didn't enjoy, and they were towards the beginning.
They weren't bad. They just
no,
weren't
it's not
special.
bad writing. It's just
they were they didn't grab you. Okay, there's the first one. They're neighbors, and they do a fake relationship because the girl broke up with the guy, and she wants revenge on the guy, so she and her best friend go out, and at the end she's in a squirrel costume, and I was like, that's so silly. I'm being nice about it. That's so silly. I was like, really? That's because it feels like they're trying to be quirky.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's just it's trying to stand out in weird ways.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's more cringy than it is anything.
The last one, which was the matchmaker algorithm, was interesting. The story itself isn't bad, but there were things writing that gets on my nerves, when they're constantly describing what someone's wearing.
Yeah.
And I was like, it doesn't really matter in the context you think it does.
Yeah.
But then some of them had really good one-liners, or just I would giggle at one of the lines, but the whole story itself is but in the back they mention what the authors have written and stuff. So it's if you really like someone's anthology, then you can go back. I'll probably be looking into Elizabeth Gilbert and Anna Marie McLemore.
Which that was actually the first Marissa Meyer book I read. And I do remember liking hers that she wrote in it as well. So I do need to revisit Marissa Meyer's. We have a plethora of her.
I love her. I think I've read most all of her stuff.
Well, you're the only reason I read Serendipity. Yeah. I remember we were trying to get it for the library, and it was part of an adopted book.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we were like, we should go halvesies on this so we can both read the anthology version.
But then I think Kay went ahead and bought it.
Yes.
But it didn't, because it was for Kodak's book fundraising. But then KFL ended up getting it, and we're like, well, okay.
Which I still ended up going and buying a copy instead of borrowing it from the library. Don't learn from me, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Learn from me. If you like the book, then go get it. Because I did see this book literally last weekend in the clearance section for $5. So yeah, if you read it and like it, go check out the clearance section. You'll never know what you'll find.
Very true.
So that kind of wraps it up for the month. A happy August that we haven't had yet, because we were filming for the future. So in September, we will be putting up our. I wrote Spanish. Oh yeah, okay, it is Spanish heritage. I thought I wrote Native American Heritage Month again. No, it's Spanish Heritage Month.
Yes.
And so we'll be trying to read Hispanic authors or watch Hispanic media or something. Alexa should be back that time.
Yes.
Yeah, technically, I think you could squeeze it if you wanted to.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I have had a little bit of experience with Spanish authors, like Water for Chocolate. I had to read that for, gosh, it was some class I don't even
I
remember.
remember you talked about. I think that was.
It has like recipes within it as well.
Yeah, I think you ended up talking about that in the podcast episode.
Honestly, I probably did end up reading it for a podcast as well.
That was the one where like the oldest daughter or something, and she ended up having to take care of her mother, and then her sister fell in love with like the guy that loved her.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
You talked.
I'll plug it in again. Or you know what? Go back and watch that episode.
Which I don't even remember what that episode.
I don't even remember it either, but you know what? You guys can go back and watch them all because they're awesome, and Sam and Alexis have done a wonderful job.
Yes. We can help you try.
And Ben.
And Deb for the
And Deb
for that episode. It'll be nice when Launa's back.
Yes,
Full time.
yes. And
And
I
I
promise, guys, I haven't like left the library, and I haven't abandoned everything.
It's just she has to like wrap around her school schedule, and she's got one more year, and then she'll be back, and then I can take a break, and then I can have it
No, then it's me and you again for life,
for life.
for funsies.
I'm gonna go out sick.
every time.
Every podcast. Whoopsie. All right. So thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.